Hi, my name is Elie Mansour. I drive the station wagon behind me. It's a 2003 E46 wagon, and we run it in the Beamer Challenge Time Attack series with Speed Ventures. The dry lap performance of the tire was rather impressive. It's right there with the rest of the Super 200 treadwheel tires. We've ran it on different tracks, different configuration. The lap times were rather impressive. It hangs right there with the top tires, of course. So like, for example, Palm Willow, we ran it back in January. We ran the Clockwise 13. The car ran actually at 154, which is like 1/10 of a second slower than the top Super 200 treadwheel tire I've ran on the same wagon, same configuration in there. Streets of Willow, it ran a 120, which is super impressive for a 200 treadwheel. I didn't expect that. Big Willow, we ran a 129, and obviously you can see the car doesn't have aero. So all in all, I was very impressed with the dry performance of the tires. The lap time consistency on the tire, I know it's subjective, but to me it was impressive, and I would rate it actually as the top Super 200 tire as far as consistent lap after lap. So what I noticed, the first hot lap is fast, the second hot lap is the fastest. After that, the drop-off is very marginal compared to other tires. So literally, unless the temperature maybe like 110, 100 outside, if it, let's say, anywhere between 60 to 90 degrees, you can literally put about 4 to 5 laps super fast, and a drop-off is, like I said, is like marginal. You're talking tenths of a second. To give you an example, when I ran it at Streets of Willow back in January, temperatures were in the 50-degree range. It ran a 120. 2 weekends ago, same configuration, same thing. After 6 track days, with the car sliding or whatnot, it's still put down a 121. So 1 second difference with that much difference in temperature was very, very impressive to me. It feels like almost like a race wheel-to-wheel type of tire. So my feeling about the braking performance on the tire, it's very decent. The car has a BBK, but the ABS is still one from a station wagon, so it's not optimal. But what I noticed with the tires, when you hit the brake in certain areas, for example, racers will understand that, the off-ramp in Palm Willow, our cars are famous for going into a ice mode. So I noticed with it, it kind of minimizes it, even if you get it. If you had to kind of like swing it or adjust it, it's very predictable, and it gives you feedback under braking. So it makes it easier to understand like what the car is doing at that particular time. So overall, it's not bad at all. It's very, very like acceptable. From my experience with the car and the tire, as far as steering is concerned, I start the cold PSI around 26, more or less, depending on the weather. So what I noticed, the turn-in, it's very precise and crisp. As I start building pressure, it becomes a little bit lazier, but it's still predictable. Now I have a lock-and diff in there, so it kind of make it a little bit different than your regular car, like street car or whatnot, so you have to modulate it a little bit, but I like the feedback that gives you. But overall, like the entry, the mid-corner and the exit is very, very precise, and it seems to me it has like a stiff sidewalls, which I like them better than the soft sidewalls compared to other tires, because it makes it easier for me to understand what the car is doing as I'm turning in there. As far as cornering is concerned, corner entry is very predictable, very, very crisp, like you can feel what the car is doing. Mid-corner, it gets loose a little bit, you have to kind of modulate it. And at the exit, if I'm completely transparent, the lateral grip in that tire stands above every Super 200 tire that I've driven before. Once you punch it, it does get loose a little bit, but what I noticed, it's more of a power slide than a drift. It keeps pushing the car forward and actually barely hurt your lap time. So what I did, I changed something with the suspension, stiffened it, I put the sway bar and whatnot. It became also more predictable. So the entry is very decent, very nice. Mid-corner, not bad at all. The exit, I just loved it, especially after the setup, because I like to kind of like slide the car a little bit, not drifting, but just kind of like to help it rotate. And the tire is really, really impressive, especially, even if it's hot weather out there. As far as handling at the limit is concerned, when you load the car, especially in a high-speed corner, it does, like at the limit, it snaps a little bit. It's semi-predictable, but what I liked about the tire, it's super easy to control. So even if it slides a little bit, it gives you warning at the edge in there, and you can control it and keep going. So it comes in handy for either like a beginner driver, it's forgiving, or an experienced driver who knows how to modulate it to go faster. So it does brake, but it's very controllable. It doesn't get out of control where you're gonna spin or you're gonna go off. So as far as heat cycles and lap time, actually I was kindly surprised. So the tires have about 6 track days on them, and altogether I think between 12 to 15 heat cycle. First day I ran it was a Streets of Willow. Brand new tire, temperatures in the 50s. Like I said before, it ran a 120. We went 2 weeks ago, 90 degrees, same configuration. After 5 track days, it was the 6th track day, I believe, it ran a 121 in like scorching heat outside. The drop-off was 1 second, which is rather impressive. I did not expect that. So all in all, it's the tire, it seems like longevity is gonna be really nice for us, you know, track car drivers or racers or whatnot. What stood out to me, 2 things. The lateral grip on the tire is super impressive. Even I've driven the car with even scrub slicks, Pirelli, whatnot. I mean, obviously it's a different league, but it's close to it. So I love that, like coming out of the corner, it's really impressive. The second thing, at the limit, especially at fast corners, even when the car starts to slide, it's very, very easy to control and keep going without barely like jeopardizing your lap time. The type of drivers would love those tires. Beginners for sure, because it's very forgiving. It'll give them confidence to go faster. I would also recommend it for people on budget that they want to go fast. Now, although it might not be the fastest tire out there, but it will last longer than any tire, like 200 tread wheel in there. And the lap time is very, very comparable to the top tires. So whoever is on a budget and still want to go fast, I would definitely recommend this tire for. It helped me in 2 ways. Number one, it helped me kind of like breathe, take it easy and push the car, knowing what the tire can provide for me to work on my lines and how like to go faster instead of like overdriving the car and just, you know, let it slide like as if I'm doing a drift day or a drift event. Second thing, like I said, I mentioned, I keep going back to the lateral grip. It helped me like modulate with the car, like as I'm coming out of the corner, when I'm setting on the suspension or adding stuff, it helps me kind of put it in perspective. Okay, I need to do this instead of that, or I need to do these things. And every time I did like something different or added something to the car, I noticed it. Actually, the tire will allow me to go ahead and feel the changes instead of just change it aimlessly. I'm like, yeah, let's hope it works. As an advice for beginners or a new track guy, I would definitely recommend the tire because I've already put, like we said, like 6 track days on them. The tire is very forgiving, very predictable at the limit. You can control the car, it's fast. Money-wise, budget-wise, it makes a lot of sense. So once you combine the whole thing, how can you go wrong?